Hello, World Civ. Here we are in our last week of work, and then we have finals. And there's a lot to cover here. There's a lot, no doubt. And I mentioned this in other videos, but other announcements, but all videos have to be written on for notes. Okay, so. Say it one more time. All videos posted have to be written on for video notes, okay? And again, I realize, what I usually like to do when I don't have a cram course is I just do a week on the Israel-Palestine conflict and just focusing on the Middle East. It's so much easier and nicer that way. But we don't have that option in a cram course setting. So at least they all kind of overlap each other in terms of putting things into context. So I mean, it's really, sorry, all these bugs everywhere. It's such a hot day even up here in Portland. I'm like, this table is just like a plethora of bugs. But anyways, I guess they like to shade as well. Okay, so talking about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Such a crucial conflict to understand. And I definitely have my own bias on it, but I hope that at least you will see that there's some nuance here in trying to understand both sides, which that's what you're supposed to do in one of your papers, is to write how this looks from both sides. I've been to enough debates and discussions on this. I've read definitely over 20 books on the subject. I've tried to cover as many things that I think that are brought up and significant to the discussion. It certainly is one of the most important topics within the Middle East and the broader Islamic world. And it's certainly a very important topic for anybody of Jewish background, regardless of where they stand on the political side as well. And college campuses, it's a hot button topic, and so this is what's always been the problem is that it's something that people rather don't really care about, or they care about it so much that you lose friends immediately when you say which opinion you have. It's that sensitive, So I want you to keep that in mind about it, especially as we even go into the discussions. And so, I mean, in every given class I've had students of Palestinian background and Israeli, okay? And, or just Jewish Americans. So the bottom line is I want you to just keep that in mind in the discussions, okay? All right. So have really open, fruitful discussions, but let's be civil in the context of a classroom setting, okay? And I wanted to put more on the Middle East and the U.S. and the world. Obviously, through time, I'm just limited. But I'm hoping that what you'll do is get a better sense of what's going on. And what you're going to see, and this is something that's so important, that if you even understand this from me in my classroom, it'll be so much better, is that the Israel-Palestine conflict and most of the wars in the Middle East, even though religion gets brought into it, and religion as a set of identity politics, the real issue behind these things are often not religion itself. If you've made everybody atheists in this region, it's not likely to be that much different than how Europe was. So again, I want to remind you, and this is something that I've discussed, World War I and World War II. Look what Europeans did to each other. And America as well. In other words, look what Europe was doing to each other all the way up until World War II. Slaughter each other. Think of all the night movies, Braveheart, any of those things. No matter how accurate or not those movies are depicting actual history, what they're accurate in is European white-on-white crime, okay? Of slaughter. And So when we look at the Middle East and we're seeing what's happening in Syria, well, that could have easily been Eastern Europe, or pick a European country during World War I and World War II, or any time before that, right? Okay. And so what you see is that national identities, ethnic groups, battle over resources, outside imperial forces getting involved and creating problems there. These are all factors that we have to consider and think about. And so I'm hoping that you'll get a really good sense, better sense of what's going on here. And it also explains something that I wish I would have had time to go over or put in, and I'm not really going to have time, is to deal with the refugee crisis that's taking place. Because the refugee crisis has to do with the economic policies that are imposed on African nations and some of the ineffective ways in which some of the rulers are ruling. There's many different factors, but you have the global economy is one factor for refugee crisis. The civil wars and the wars that are often backed by outside forces. George Bush invading Iraq, and that created a massive refugee crisis. Obama with NATO invading Libya created a massive refugee crisis. The Syrian civil war has created a massive refugee crisis. And now we are having an existential crisis about identity and what to do about refugees within Europe and the United States. You all feeling me here? It's very important material to think about and reflect. And so that's all I'm going to, I guess, have to say about this for now. Please feel free to get a hold of me if you need anything, of course. And I've enjoyed being with you guys, and I'll have one more last announcement with my thoughts on this whole class for next week when I announce the final. So take care and keep cool. It's hot out here.